Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first episode of Analyzing Heroes, featuring Stephen J. Lockjaw from one battle after another. An American hero, Lockjaw is relentless in his quest of stopping lunatics, haters, and punk trash, using whatever means necessary to accomplish his goal. With his fashionable hairstyle and confident gait, he worked his way up through the military, ascending the ranks and accumulating awards through his hard work and determination, ultimately reaching the level of colonel. In this video, we will dive into Lockjaw's countless achievements, allowing us to get a glimpse into the mind of one of the greatest staples of American heroism ever put to film. Speaking of heroes, this brings us to today's sponsor, myself. I have a gaming YouTube channel where I make guides for Bloons TD6. Check those out and use my creator code OneEyeDeacon if you want to make an in-game purchase. Thank you to myself for sponsoring this video. And now without further ado, let's begin. Little is known about Lockjaw's early life, but we can surmise a few things using context clues and our imagination. He was born in rural Iowa, his father a Marine, and his mother a schoolteacher. As such, his family imparted the value of both military service and education. He excelled in his studies and was gifted athletically, eventually being accepted to West Point, where he played football as he trained to become a military officer. After serving in the First Gulf War, he moved into counterterrorism and border security, eventually being promoted to captain and subsequently placed in command of the Otay Mesa Immigration Detention Center. When he first arrived, he noticed the subpar security and attempted to go through the proper channels to bolster it, but was met with resistance from an administration hostile to his goals. As a result of these issues, the center was infiltrated by members of the domestic terrorist group, the French 75. One of the terrorists, Perfidia Beverly Hills, tied him up at gunpoint before releasing all the illegals in detention. This failure would normally demoralize a weaker man and lead them to resign, but Lockjaw, having tremendous power of mind and body, became even more determined to squash this terrorist group. After this disaster, he was given all the resources he needed to combat this group, as well as the autonomy to do so however he wanted. Through intense investigative work, Lockjaw intercepted Perfidia placing a bomb at a courthouse, engaging the enemy face to face in battle. However, being deep in the dark alleys and shadows of espionage, Lockjaw momentarily let his guard down. Perfidia employed deception, drugged Lockjaw, and then raped him in reverse. Lockjaw recounted the incident decades later. When I awoke, there was sensitivity in a private place, and there was residue of an interaction. It is unclear why Perfidia took this course of action, but the popular theory is that, in addition to being a terrorist, she was also a sperm thief, a semen demon, and upon seeing Lockjaw's power of mind and body, desired it for herself. While such an event might be traumatic for a weaker minded individual, Lockjaw was unperturbed. He continued investigating and pursuing this group. His big break came after Perfidia was arrested a year later, charged with bank robbery and homicide. A talented interrogator, he convinced Perfidia to become an informant, and she ended up disclosing the identities of many French 75 members. Lockjaw personally oversaw their arrest, crippling the organization, with the few surviving members going into hiding. Lockjaw was honored with accolades for this achievement, saving the country from this terrorist organization and their horrific acts of violence. Over the next 16 years, Lockjaw continued dedicating himself to serving the public, earning even more accolades, and eventually being promoted to colonel. His work was noticed by many high-level organizations. When one such organization, the Christmas Adventurers Club, finally had an opening after one of their members passed away, they showed no hesitation in reaching out to Lockjaw to gauge his interest in joining their club. Lockjaw, sharing the club's ultimate goal of ensuring the purity of the country, readily agreed to submit to a background check, as his decades of dedicated service was unimpeachable, aside from one instance where he justifiably refused to pay for a jet ski he ordered. However, the club did not seem to care after he disclosed that. With his membership all but guaranteed, Lockjaw continued on with his work. He had long been investigating and keeping tabs on the communist radio host, Howard Somerville, who for years had been suspected of having ties to the French 75. He finally decided to apprehend him, and he tasked a bounty hunter named Avanti to do so. After some light questioning, Somerville revealed that one high-level French 75 bomber, Pat Calhoun, was hiding out in Backton Cross, California with his daughter, Charlene. Backton Cross had already been on Lockjaw's radar, as it was suspected of being a sanctuary city, giving jobs and housing to illegals, drug dealers, and psychopaths. Additionally, Charlene, despite being a high school student, was also known to be involved with narco cartels and was suspected of murder. Lockjaw wasted no time, mobilizing his task force to execute a Class A raid of the Chicken Licken Frozen Farm, as well as apprehend Pat and Charlene. The raid was a success, but Pat and Charlene fled the city. Lockjaw doggedly pursued every lead, eventually tracking Charlene to the Sisters of the Brave Beaver, a community of nuns who sustained themselves by growing marijuana. After apprehending Charlene, he interrogated her and submitted her to a DNA test. The interrogation was contentious, but Lockjaw, being a seasoned officer, kept his cool and put tremendous pressure on Charlene to give up all information she knew. The DNA test ended up confirming her involvement with several drug related homicides in the area, so he took her again to Avanti to transport her to a nearby facility so she could face justice. After doing so, Lockjaw was unfortunately pursued and shot in the face by an unknown individual. While the suspect is still at large, he was presumably one of the lunatics, haters, and punk trash the Christmas Adventurers Club had warned him about. Fortunately, Lockjaw survived this encounter, albeit with some minor injuries to his face. After recovering, he resumed his interview with the Christmas Adventurers Club, where he was deservedly awarded with a prestigious membership and a corner office to boot, a well earned reward for a lifetime of service. So, what can we say about Stephen J. Lockjaw? He was more than just a military officer. He was a force of nature, unimpeachable in character, with strong convictions, who dedicated his life to securing the border and his nation. He barreled through numerous adversities but always came out with more dedication towards his cause. In his fight against the French 75, he bravely engaged in pursuits and gunfights. When confronted by rioters in Backtown Cross, he readily met fire with fire, projecting strength after they struck first with a Molotov cocktail. But he also has a soft spot and a pure heart. For example, when driving Charlene to Avanti, he gave her some helpful advice on wearing makeup to her dance, and he also gently suggested that she be cordial with her mother and father and remember them fondly. Ultimately, his determination, courage, and resilience are the main cornerstones of his character and are the main reason why he is such an amazing example of a hero. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like and subscribe to the channel. What are your thoughts on Colonel Lockjaw? Let me know down below, and leave a suggestion for any heroes that you want me to cover in a future video. Thanks for watching, and I'll be seeing you soon.